Yo, what's up, guys? Seasonal Talk Sam here to bring you guys my episode 6 review of ZETMAN, and this episode was okay. Nothing really too special. And I think the reason why I pretty much felt this episode wasn't really anything too special was because it wasn't. It was pretty much, I guess, dialogue. I don't want to say dialogue heavy, but there was a good amount of dialogue in this episode, and just compared to, like, I guess, the other episodes, which were pretty much, I guess, fast paced and action packed. This episode was just pretty much dialogue. I mean, there wasn't really that much fighting in this episode, unless you consider, Jin going up against the crab player, which wasn't really that much of a fight because he was just trying to fend off against himself, and he eventually just ran because couldn't transform into ZET, and you had Koga fighting off against those crab players, which I did not expect Koga to come to those homeless guys' aid. Like, I literally thought these guys were just going to die for nothing. I'm just like, oh my. When I saw those guys being like, oh, Jin, don't worry about it. We're going to take care of those players, and Jin's like, no, you're going to get killed. Trust me, Jin. We got this. And then they're like, okay, guys, let's go. And they're like, oh, and I'm like, oh my god, they're going to fucking die. And then fucking Koga came and shot those bitches down. I was like, oh, I'm like, thank God, Koga, thank you for actually coming. Like, even though I really don't really care that much for the homeless people, I'm actually glad they're alive because it would be just a complete waste to kill off the homeless. They're homeless people, for God's sakes. Like, come on, like, really, Katsura? Would you honestly kill off those homeless people? Just anyway, but I'm glad that Koga actually came to the aid because we all know those homeless people would just get destroyed by those by the crabs. So yeah, and I really do wonder what's going to become of Hana. No, was it? No, Tanaka. There we go. Um, um, because we last saw her about to take her bath, and then all of a sudden she sees this like a fucking pool of cockroaches, I want to say, in the room. So I'm assuming. So obviously you could just assume that that's the work of a player. Um, and then Jin was able to, I guess, yeah, Jin was able to rescue Konoha and her friend from the crab player's brother, even though Koga was the one who pretty much destroyed him off. Yeah, pretty much destroyed him because Jin wasn't able to turn into Zet, and he was literally really couldn't even put up a fight. So yeah, but and then finally, pretty much, I guess I want to say the main point of this episode was, I guess, when Jin finally transformed into his perfected the perfected to what do you call it? He pretty much transformed into his perfected Zet state. And I find it kind of ironic that Haitani was pretty much the sole reason to Jin actually transforming, because if it weren't for Haitani sticking that ring of something or other, I don't remember, that sticking that stake inside his body, he would never be able to transform into his complete Zet state. So just yeah, and I just find that ironic because Itani's like, I don't want to say he's the main antagonist of ZETMAN, but I would assume he's one of the many antagonists that will get in Jin's way. So I find it ironic that one of the antagonists of ZETMAN is pretty much the reason how he was pretty much the reason as to how Jin was able to transform and complete into his complete Zet form. So yeah, looking forward to the next episode, which apparently, judging by the episode preview, and Jin and Koga are going to team up, I guess, fighting against the crab players, and I'm assuming that's when the crab player is going to get destroyed. So it will be, yeah, that's going to be really interesting to see Koga and Jin teaming up, even though I doubt Koga would know that that yeah, because Jin is in his Z form, so I don't think so. Yeah. Um, so I would think that Koga would not be able to recognize that, that's Jin instead of some random person. So, but anyway, what do you guys think of this episode? I thought this episode was okay. Leave it in comments below regarding this episode or ZETMAN in general in this comment section below. This is Seasonal Talk Sam, and I'll see you guys next week with my episode 7 review.